Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm working on a piece that I have been working on for kind of a long time now. Most of the pieces that I do now, I usually get done within 2 days, usually 1 day, depending on how complicated it is. But this one, I wanted to do something that had a full background, 2 characters, so it was a lot more involved, and it ended up taking kind of a long time to get only half of the image done so far. So when I was editing this video, the benefit of that is that I can see how much time I actually spend creating it. So it takes out all the like distractions that I do when I stop and I go look at stuff. But when I was editing, I could see how long this stuff actually took, and it took me almost 6 hours to do the sketch and the inking for this piece, which is a huge amount of time for pieces that I've been doing recently. I mean, most of my stuff I get done in that amount of time when they're more complicated pieces. So it was kind of surprising. But I actually really am happy about that, because I have noticed that there was that trend where I'm doing a lot of pieces that are very quick, and not that they're rushed, but that they're not very complicated, so I can get them done quickly. And it's not that I'm necessarily making those specific choices, but I think that I'm gravitating towards that kind of image lately, and it's not really as satisfying, or not nearly as much satisfying as it is when I'm doing a piece that I've spent a lot more time on, that I've developed the characters, that I have a full background, that there's a story and an environment going on. So I'd really like to get back into doing that, doing more full illustrations, ones like this where there's just a lot more stuff going on. And I know that it'll really help me improve, because this kind of an image, while no one particular thing was really challenging necessarily, including all of those things, it really did challenge the skills that I had. It pushed me to draw better and to think more about the whole image, rather than really doing things automatically. I know that I talk about that a lot, because it is something that I'm really thinking about lately, is what can I do to make myself improve. And I think that this kind of image is definitely on the right track, doing ones that are more complicated like this. And a large part of the time that I ended up spending on this piece was actually redrawing the characters, which I actually feel really glad that I did that. Specifically the girl character, the one on the right. I had a sketch for her, and like I mentioned, I tend to kind of go with the first thing that I put down, because I feel very not so much rushed, but I do feel the pressure of needing to get an illustration done so I can move on to the next one, so I can make a video out of it and get it up for you guys. So a lot of times I'll kind of do the first thing that I get down, and I don't really even second guess it often, which is very harmful to me becoming a better artist. But with her, I really looked at her critically, and she just wasn't quite what I wanted her to look like. She didn't have quite the right kind of personality to her. So I ended up redrawing her, I think it was like 2 or 3 times, and each time it was just, I could feel that it wasn't quite right. It wasn't as good as I knew that I could do it. And so I'm really, I know it sounds silly, but I feel pretty proud of myself that I was taking a step back and thinking it through, and allowing myself to take more time to get a piece that I am going to be a lot happier with. Because I know if I had settled on a character that was one of the earlier sketches of her, I know that I would have been less happy with the end result. And I'm feeling really good about this piece, about coloring it, about finishing it up. And I know that there have been times in other illustrations where I kind of have rushed past some of the things that I had that little voice in the back of my head telling me that it was not quite right, and I rushed past it, and then in the end I know that that holds me back from liking the piece as much. So yeah, I feel like I'm pretty happy with the process of this piece, just because I was pushing myself more. I was really thinking through it more than usual. So when I was doing the line work for this, there was a couple things that I kept in mind specifically for this piece. So I really want to get a lot of depth in this piece, and some of that will come from the coloring, but some of that was also in the line work. So when I did the stuff that's really receding back far on the background, I went in with a much lighter touch for the line work. So the lines are a lot thinner, and some of the details are much looser. They're kind of more implied rather than fully rendered out with the line work. That just helps it really recede back there and make it look like it's farther away. I also made sure that I had them each on a different layer. So I have the farthermost background layer, the trees on one layer, and then the desk area on one layer, and then the characters on another layer. And that's because when I'm coloring it, I want to be able to go in and change the color of the line work as it recedes back, because things that are farther back into the background have lower contrast and things that are closer up have higher contrast. So that way when I'm doing the finishing touches, I can really push back the stuff that's behind, and it'll really help them come forward, and it'll just give the piece a lot of depth. So I'm really excited to paint this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to try to find ways that I can, like I said, give it a lot of depth so that it looks like there's an actual space there. And that is pretty much it for the video today. That's only half of the piece, obviously. I'm really excited to paint this one, though. I know that I really want to play with warm and cool for this piece. I'm thinking maybe a really warm orange for around the desk where they're going to have some light, and then the background is probably going to be a really cool blue, like it just turned nighttime. But yeah, I'm just really excited to play with that and play with getting depth within this piece particularly. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to color it, I think. But thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you can catch my future art videos, and I'll see you at my next one.